The Akashic records are Soul's SIM card. Hello and thank you for sharing. Please look at the 2 completed jigsaws and let's imagine they represent 2 people's lifetime of incarnation on Earth. The first lifetime reflection is from a farmer. He or she had an affinity with nature, flowers and animals. They also spent a period of their lifetime fishing. There are memories of different experiences from throughout their lifetime. Living for a time in a windmill. Opposing a wind farm which the government wanted to build on their land. A ride in a hot air balloon. A ride in a plane. A beautiful cottage where they were born and played as a child within nature. A time with no computers, a time when water was pumped from a well. He or she remembers participation in celebrations and firework displays as a child and the big bonfires on the 5th of November. This lifetime jigsaw we all have, and they are part of the Akashic records, the library from God's computer, from which every individual has a connection similar to a SIM card. See my film Space and Time Continuum, The Matrix from the Tree of Life. Links to the films are in the script of this film. This is our lifetime jigsaw, which many people whom have temporarily passed over have seen when they recall seeing their whole lifetime in an instant. Take a moment and imagine what your jigsaw would look like. There are many times when we have paranormal experiences through altered states of consciousness. And we travel through these jigsaws. See my film, Time Distortion, Tachypsychia. The astral world, spirit world, is all around us, similar to the signal of a mobile phone or internet. And like attracts like, and usually amongst our own Akashic jigsaw of life. It's important to remember our paths cross with many other Akashic remnants from Earth, including spirits and people. See my film Understanding Lost and Confused Spirits. Our consciousness travels and perceives through altered states such as astral projection. Similarly to your internet, when your consciousness has shifted into the spiritual dimension, there is no time as we perceive it on Earth. Just like your mobile phone, you could contact something or someone from the other side of the world in an instant, or another dimension instantly. People often see loved ones, including pets, during sleep, which is an altered state of consciousness. See my film Astral Projections, Lucid Dreaming and Walk-ins. The individual from the first jigsaw reflects a peaceful existence within nature. Birds and animals show a connection with nature. The second jigsaw reflects energy through activity, and that activity has a connection with music. Raves with loud music, rock music from groups such as the Rolling Stones. The individual's reflection from the Akashic records indicates a lifetime spent within the city. Lots of tall buildings and a lot of suspicious looking characters, and with some of the bizarre, erratic characters, possibly the use of alcohol or intoxicants have been used. Now let's attempt to explore the relevance of time displacement and altered states of consciousness. We all have our own jigsaw, SIM card, and when we pass over, we often see our whole lifetime in an instant, and many people have related to this experience whom have been resurrected and returned from death. When we sleep, and if relaxed enough, we often venture through the archives of our own Akashic records and often travel into another time area, community where a diverse array of spirits reside. We may see our family and loved ones and also our beloved pets, whom are in the spiritual dimension, attached to us and waiting to be reunited in the next world. Always remember, like attracts like. The feelings you are experiencing will reflect through the spiritual dimension, just like the internet, and may attract spirits, some of whom may want to cause you harm, just as in daily life. For after all, spirits are from people who were incarnate on earth. See my film Understanding Lost and Confused Spirits. Links to the films are in the script of this film. Another example, as mentioned in several of my other films on YouTube, is your room being filled with invisible signals. Millions of books, pictures and everything, including people, all becoming manifest on your mobile phone. They're all there in your room. In this example, we can transgress time and space, as in an instant you can be talking to someone on the other side of the world. Some spirits who have not passed over into the light remain in this other dimension within the density of Earth. As for them, time and space are less relevant to their existence, and some spirits attempt and are able to experience material manifestation through attachment or possession, drawn by their individual fixations to a suitable host, usually through portals of trauma. Another example is our computers. Imagine the matrix a computer of our creator has made and we live in. It's far more complex than our computers. It has karmic responses, portals, and just like our computers can record things. And this whole collective memory is called the Akashic records. How many things can you record on our computers? If you have a memory stick, you can record literally everything. So imagine our Creator's collective memory. Every blade of grass, every word, every action are recorded, available and recorded on the Akashic records. In the matrix of God's computer, emotions are also recorded. Every action, emotion, feeling and trauma experienced by everyone and everything is recorded. Now take the relativity of time and space, which we have just mentioned. Everything from everywhere, available in an instance, anywhere. Now add feelings, because God's computer also records feelings. A traumatic event in life which has had such an impact it causes psychological fragmentation becomes a manifest instant punched into time, which becomes manifest in the Akashic records and is also attached to yourself. And because of the trauma involved, we have a fragmentation and attachment, but because it is from yourself, you possess this maladaption. This self-possession of psychological trauma is a portal. It's known as neurosis, a psychosis. It's a doorway into your own computer. It's like spilt coffee on your computer keys on a screen. And now everything your computer displays is tainted by the mistake made. And yes, it is often someone else who has caused the damage. The latter gives reference to negative spirit and their communication, which may be harmful. I'm going to talk about lucid dreaming and astral projection, and what I've learned and how I use out-of-the-body experiences. I would recommend, before continuing with this film, that you watch my film from this series regarding our three bodies called the spiritual, etheric and material bodies. We have the material body, the etheric body and the spiritual body. The process of leaving our body is a natural process which is inhibited by our fixations from our earthbound existence. The metaphysical scientific processes of astral projection are not complicated to understand. It's a physical and mental conscious application for detachment conditions which can easily become restrictive. It's like a pool of water with ripples which can become settled and peaceful and may become the reflection from the mirror of ourselves and open portals. There are two types of astral projection. One, we can project using our spiritual body. Two, or we can project using our spiritual and etheric body. Again, my film, The Spiritual, Etheric and Material Bodies, will explain more about our three bodies. Our etheric body consists of a fine material substance, just like a sponge holding the water of our spiritual body. The etheric body may project consciously or unconsciously, and it may project also on its own, in which case the host is most likely to be unaware of the displacement. The host would be likely to be in a state of dissociation through relaxation or trance, what we often call daydreaming. What's the difference between projection within our etheric and spiritual body together and our spiritual body singular. With your etheric body being of a material substance, your consciousness, when projected, is a similar experience to our earthly material body. You are able to travel around within materiality, within the world. You can pass through walls, which will feel a bit spongy. You may travel at the speed of thought. You can fly like a bird. You can stand still in one location. You can be present at an individual's passing over. But beware, as most people who pass over are still alive in their etheric and spiritual bodies. They're fully conscious and often confused. It takes 3 days for our etheric body to dissipate after death. For instance, someone who has died in a motor accident may be shouting at you to phone for help, and they're likely to be agitated or annoyed at your lack of compliance within such tragic circumstances. To them, they're still alive. They don't understand that they've died and passed over. As previously mentioned, unconscious projection, displacement of our etheric body, singular, can occur when an individual is relaxing or under a state of trance. This means that in specific conditions, a person or animal may be seen in a different location than where their physical body is situated. Doppelganger, double or ghost shadow. Émile Séguy, 1845. She was 32 years old. She was a French teacher who was moved to 19 different teaching positions in 16 years. Émile's double etheric body was regularly seen by her students, and on one occasion she was standing in the garden outside the classroom, while at the same time she was seen standing in her own classroom. In his book Journeys Out of the Body, Robert Monroe explains how he would naturally project from his physical body. To the extent of this experience being so regular, he describes his experiences as often being boring. Some people are born with a natural ability to experience metaphysical phenomena. Leslie Flint, in his book Voices in the Dark, tells the story of how he was an ordinary working guy who was coerced into going to a spiritualist circle and participating in a seance. He thought he had fallen asleep and awoke, and he was apologising for what he thought was his ignorant behaviour, not realising that he was being used as a physical medium and that spirits had been talking through him. Yes, spirits can attach to us and use our etheric body, the medium in such cases being our physical body, which the intruder uses to experience their own desired physical fixations. But more about spirit attachments and possession in my next film. I use astral projection through lucid dreaming for my work with clients, during which I do scans and walk-ins, being external and internal, which I will explain to you in a minute. Firstly, I'll explain more about etheric projection or displacement. The first time I experienced etheric projection, I was a teenager and was going through a very stressful time in my life. I was literally homeless, jobless. I was sleeping on a friend's settee, and whilst I was sleeping, I felt a very strong swaying motion as if falling over. I had a strong feeling of nausea. Suddenly I found myself floating in the top of the room. I was above the settee. The experience was of an overwhelming clarity. Everything was, if anything, more clear and defined than when in my waking self. The room was filled with light, even though it was dark. The feeling was of an overwhelming excitement. I knew I was out of my body, but my emotional excitement brought me back into my body. I had another experience exactly the same about 5 years later. Once again, I was homeless with no job or attachments in life. I found myself floating in the top of the room. This time I began to will myself forwards towards the wall. I began to pass through the wall, which felt spongy. I was shocked by this feeling, and my emotion returned me to my physical body. This was and is, from my experience, the second hurdle to overcome: emotion. The first hurdle being the transition from our material body. For myself, the determining factors for release from the physical body are a detachment from life's fixations, being in the moment with no attachments or objectives other than how to get through the next day. Possibly being despondent, a sad kind of earthing, was also a determining factor for my own automatic etheric projection. If you have time, please see my other film, Time Displacement. I do believe that this is why mystics and even Jesus went into solitude. Sensory deprivation is a major determining factor for displacement. So when we project in our etheric body, our spirit is confined to the material etheric substance known as ectoplasm. It's this substance which attaching spirits can use to cause effects from knocking or scratching. The latter is not the same as poltergeist activity, which is psychosomatic from an individual's disturbed psyche. When we project in our spirit body, there's a lot more freedom to move around the astral plane. The same primary principles exist as with etheric projection. The less stress and anxiety levels you feel, then the more chance you have of astral projection. Our transition into sleep takes us into the spiritual dimension. Time is different within this other realm, a world. 30 minutes sleep may seem like a few minutes in the spirit world. The closer we are to the earthbound dimension, then the more compressed time becomes. Again, please see my film, Time Displacement, if you have time. Time stops as we pass deeper into the spirit world. No time or space, just like your mobile phone. The other side of the world is there instantaneously. Before we continue, I'll just mention an important issue which for myself has been verified. Many practitioners, psychologists, and even spirit release therapists, including authors of books regarding lucid dreaming or astral projection, do not accept the spiritual realm's existence. They give reference to all paranormal phenomena as being manufactured from our own mind. Well, I also have a university degree in psychology and counselling, so please listen carefully to the following. Many times I've been requested to perform a clearing at a specific location. On one occasion I was asked to do a clearance at an old cottage within the client's grounds. I had no prior knowledge of the property or the occupants as my visit was in person. Sometimes I perform a scan before visiting the location to gain an insight into what I am working with. Through lucid dreaming into projection, I found myself inside the cottage. I'm standing in the cottage with the front door behind me. There are open wooden stairs to my right, a few feet away. And a room is on each side of the stairs. I go up the stairs and there's a large room which has a few bland furnishings. I come back down the stairs and am facing the front door. I feel a presence behind me. I turn around to find myself facing an elderly lady and her son, and they're standing by a large fireplace. I often know such information psychically. The mother and son were angry and viewed me as an intruder in their home. Validation. When I visited the property, I walked into the cottage and it was exactly as I had seen during my projection. I went up the same staircase, I looked at the same top room, I came down the stairs, I turned to face the same fireplace where the two people had been previously standing. I performed the clearing, guiding the mother and her son into the light. The latter has happened many times without my having any prior knowledge or ever having visited the location before. So, if the dream world is manufactured from our own minds, then how can my own mind have seen and visited a property I've never seen before? More validation can be found with clients I've worked with and guided into spirit. They've conversed with spirit and been given information which they were searching for and had no prior knowledge of. The spirit world and spirit release will be covered more in other films.